Should I lift my Jeep Gladiator? Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Should I lift the Jeep Gladiator? It's a 2020, which I guess makes sense because they're brand new. But anyway, I love lifted vehicles. You guys who maybe have checked out the other channel know that my Tacoma up there is lifted. I love the way that it looks. And frankly, I think the Jeep Gladiator needs a lift as well. I think with a lift, the Jeep Gladiator looks absolutely fantastic. But I struggle. I go back and forth, and I do that because of ride quality, really. I had a few issues before I got everything worked out on the Tacoma up there. Cost me a little bit of money, not a ton, but you know, hey, throwing $1 in the trash is $1 in the trash, right? So anyway, I kind of go back and forth on that because I don't want to get into the same situation with the Gladiator back here because frankly, I love the way it rides and drives right now. If I could know that I could go ahead and put some sort of a lift on it, a little bit bigger tires, I'd keep the same wheels that I have. We'll show you that stuff here in a second. But I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat because I love the way they look lifted. I just think it makes them tougher looking, meaner looking, and they just look awesome. So right now, what I've got obviously here is stock. I mean, there is no lift on this Gladiator. I did change out the wheels. I went with a fuel 17-inch wheel, and that's what you can see on there right now. And I like these wheels, and I think, barring, you know, the ability to put the right width tire on it, or to be able to accept the right width tire, that I wouldn't change the wheels. I mean, I like these. I think they're pretty sharp. I think they go well with the truck overall, and I don't think there's really any reason to change those. But the height, you know, you can get, of course, many different lifts and stuff out there. I mean, there are a myriad of lifts that you can get for the Jeep Gladiator, right? I mean, you name it, you can do it. But what I'm thinking is trying to stay with what was designed for the Gladiator specifically, and that is a Mopar lift. And it seems to me that the Mopar lift for the Jeep Gladiator is the 2-inch, I believe. It's either 2 or 2.5, I don't recall. But that is the lift that you should do, I think, for the Jeep Gladiator to kind of keep it as stock as you can. And my hopes in doing that would be to maintain the ride and comfort quality that I have right now. So I've done a little bit of investigation. Actually, today, Krista and I, my wife, went over to the local Jeep dealer because they have a few on the lot there. Actually, I think a couple that are lifted. And I'll show you the sticker here on one and then a view of it a little bit. And I really like the stance of this one, but I think it was a 3 or 3.5 inch lift. And I believe it's on 37-inch tires, but let me show you here. Now, you guys can see the cost of all of the stuff they had on that Jeep. Now, I'm not looking to do everything they had. Plus, it would cost a little bit less, even if I did, because I would do most of it myself, excluding the actual lift. Now, this is the part that's interesting. I actually ran into a guy. I mean, you can't go on a car lot now without having somebody track you down, right? But I actually talked to a guy who was zooming by on a golf cart. Actually, he stopped while we were there. And I asked him, you know, do you guys do the lifts here on site? And he told me no, they don't do them on site. They do them at a place actually in McAllen, Texas called 4-Wheel Drive Parts, I believe is what they're called. That's where they send their Jeeps off and probably other vehicles at the dealership to be lifted. I looked those guys up and they look pretty quality. There's pictures of the shop and all that kind of stuff, and they even sell some lifted vehicles. They're used vehicles, it looks like, that maybe they've done a lift on. I'm not sure, but they sell lifted vehicles as well. So seemed to me from a few of the reviews I read there that they do a really great job. And I think if I was to do this lift, I would be interested in taking the Jeep to the place that the dealer takes the Jeep, right? Because they're having brand new Jeeps lifted, and I gotta figure if they didn't have good results, they wouldn't go there. So I think I'm gonna get a hold of them. I did look up the lift. It is a 2-inch Mopar Lift. That's what was suggested on their site. And by the way, on their site, and I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but they do have some cool information out there. Even will tell you what size tires should fit with the lift. And I know a lot of people ask about that. I get questions about that. And of course, it depends on offset and, you know, different things that you may or may not do. So they give you an idea anyway of what size tire you can get based upon the lift that you've selected. So my question is, for you out there that have done a lift, I guess, what experience have you had? Is it the same? And I mean specifically picky, the same ride quality and comfort as what you had with the stock setup. That's what I really want. I want something that is exactly the same. I know that with a bigger, more aggressive tire, I'm going to have more road noise. I don't really care about that. I'm only talking about comfort and ride quality. You know, steering, vibrations, whether it tracks more on the road or not. You know, have you noticed anything different if you've had a lift done? And I'm particularly interested in the Mopar lift. And I know you can buy like the Rubicon rather. I almost said Renegade. The Rubicon that of course has, I believe, a 2 or 2.5 inch rather factory lift anyway. And comes with the bigger tires. And that's another question. When I was on the site looking at what they suggest, with a 2-inch lift on a Gladiator Sport S, they talk about utilizing a 35-inch tire. So I know a lot of people talk about putting on 37s, and the one that I showed you earlier in the video here actually had 37-inch tires, I think with a 17-inch wheel. So, but that was with a 3.5-inch lift. So it looks to me like, suggested anyway, would be no bigger than a 35-inch tire with a 2-inch lift. And I'm okay with that. I don't have to have some big giant tire on the truck, although I must say it does look pretty good. And if I could go with a 37-inch tire and not have any rubbing issues, I definitely would be interested in doing that. So that's what I'm thinking right now. And you know, typically when I start thinking of stuff like that, generally it usually comes to fruition, you know, because again, I really love lifted trucks, and the Gladiator I think just looks awesome with the lift on it. It really does. And I started to see a few around. I ran into one the other day. I was at the gas station, and a guy pulled up in a, I believe it was a gray. It wasn't the gunmetal, just the gray, I think it was, Gladiator. And it was lifted, and I don't know how high it was lifted, but it was more than 2 inches. Great big tires on it. He had red painted wheels, and man, I gotta say, that thing looked awesome. I really did like that, and I think that'd be something that maybe down the road, maybe on the next Gladiator, I don't know. My other concern that I want to mention is storage. You know, I keep the Gladiator in here either on top or below the Tacoma, and I have about, I think it's about 6 or 8 inches that I can go higher up on the top there. And it looks to me like, and you guys can kind of get an idea, I think, if you can see it here, the distance between the top of the Jeep and the bottom of the lift looks to be about, I would guess about 6 inches, something like that. So if I did a 2-inch lift and then increase the tire height, I think I'd really be looking at somewhere between, probably 2.5 to no more than 4 inches, I don't think. So that still would give me 2 inches of clearance below my lift out here, my car lift, and I'd still be able to put the Jeep either on the top or on the bottom. So I think I'm going to be okay there. Again, you guys can see what I'm dealing with here. And let me show you up on top. And it's probably kind of hard to tell, hard to judge from down here, but you can see up there, and again, it's hard to tell here, but it's about 6 inches, and it might even be a little bit more between the ceiling and the top of the Tacoma. So I think I'm set. I think I'm okay there, and I don't really think I'd have a problem. So anyway, leave a comment down below. Let me know your experience, and be specific, be picky. I really want to know. It really would help me out. Again, focusing primarily on a 2 or 2.5, I forget which it is, inch lift from Mopar. Also, a real quick, shameless plug, if you haven't and you're interested, check out my other channel. It's all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma up there. That channel is Rob Motive. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.